Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Monday. If it's your first time visiting with us, feel free to pop in the comments where you're coming from, where you're watching from, whether you're watching live or the replay. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to do that there or direct message me. If you have a topic you'd like to hear covered, same thing, you can pop it in comments or direct message me. So today we're here to talk about how to quickly and easily resolve internal blocks that leave you feeling kind of torn or stuck. So when we feel torn, we often say things like, I don't know, a part of me wants to eat healthier and yet there's a part of me that's holding me back, or a part of me wants to quit smoking yet a part of me keeps wanting that cigarette kind of thing. And so in the office, this is a great time to use what we call parts therapy. And so parts therapy came about from Fritz Perls. In the 1940s, he developed empty chair technique or Gestalt, many different names for it. And it's still used today by different therapists and counselors. It's a very effective use. So if you wanted to try this at home, you could certainly do this version. And that's you put an empty chair across from you. And it can actually be, when I do parts therapy, I'm doing it with an internal part, but empty chair was a person or an internal part. So you'd be looking at that chair and expressing all of your concerns, your frustrations, your, what you have to say, and expressing that towards the empty chair. And then you would stand up, go sit in the empty chair, and then you would either be the part or the person and, take on their personality and speak back to yourself until the conflict resolution was resolved. So very therapeutically effective if the person isn't too analytical and if they don't feel silly doing this in front of other people, which I personally could not handle doing that. However, when we do it in hypnosis, it's totally different. So what we would do in hypnosis is we would get you nice and relaxed in the hypnotic state. And remember, hypnosis is not like what it's shown in the movies. Hypnosis is a very light state. You're fully in control. You're able to talk, and you would be talking in a parts therapy session. And so in this state, you'll be able to remember everything, but you're nice and relaxed, so it doesn't feel, at least in my opinion, it doesn't feel as silly to kind of dialogue back and forth. So the client-centered parts therapy was developed originally by Charles Tebbetts, which is now taught, who I studied under, by Roy Hunter. So I am a certified parts therapy facilitator and trainer under Roy Hunter. And so we first would get the client nice and relaxed, and then we would be calling out the part that is kind of causing a problem, So remember that all of our parts, I want to say this, is all of our parts are inherently good, so we're never going to cast a part out. But there's usually a part that's kind of sabotaging what the client's overall goal is. And so we would call out that part, and then the parts or parts would kind of dialogue back and forth and negotiate. And sometimes parts came about when a client was younger or going through a traumatic event. So they're doing a job, and they're doing that job very well. It's usually a job such as protecting or keeping the client safe. And so we're never going to cast that part out, but what we get the client to do is to dialogue back and forth with the part and renegotiate kind of the job or something until there's a resolution. And so sometimes it takes a little while, and sometimes it happens rather quickly. But either way, so for instance, like if the part is like making the client eat too much, that could be to give the client comfort, a sense of comfort. Or if it's smoking, then the part might be trying to help the client to take a break because they're an overworker kind of thing. So parts aren't bad. They're just doing a job that's not in alignment with what the client's goals are, of course. For instance, another part might be holding them back from meeting new people, and that's to keep them from being rejected. So these parts are all good, but what we want to get the client to do is to talk back and forth and tell the part, well, this isn't working because, I'm feeling like rejected because now I'm not meeting people, so I'm still having that sense of rejection or whatever it is. So the client really does all of the work themselves, and the hypnotherapist just facilitates and holds space by, just like letting them switch places and go back and forth. So it's a lovely way to kind of let the client come to their own, resolution. And usually what happens is the parts negotiate until they find a way of keeping the parts, we never cast it out, but finding a new job or finding a new role, and that is in alignment with the client's overall goal. And so that's kind of the whole gist of parts therapy. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a little insight, because a lot of people have been asking, well, what's hypnosis really like? What kind of stuff do you do? So we're talking about parts today, and it's a great way of resolving internal conflicts. Of course, if you wanted to do this on your own, you could do the empty chair where you're getting up and going back and forth. All right, so thanks for watching Mindful Monday, and have a great one.